Welcome to Get Savvy, the podcast for people who want to claim back their time through the power of delegation, productivity, and automation. This is now the third in our AI Takeover Series, and it's all about data and reporting this time.
Before we get into it, let's talk about something that we've only just recently discovered, and so you listening may not realize this either. So, Teesha, you enlightened me today where I thought that Copilot and Google's
Gemini
were only available as like a paid subscription, and they integrated in with your 365 or your Google Workspace. That's actually not technically true, is it?
No, although it does do that. They also have their own free versions of essentially like ChatGPT has, where you can chat with their tools. So Copilot has their one at copilot.microsoft.com. And I think you may just need to sign in, but you can sign into any type of account. It doesn't need to be a paid account. And same with Google, you go to gemini.google.com and then you have these interfaces that are very similar to ChatGPT. And you can even do things like generate images and have access to the type of things that you have with the custom GPTs. And as we've mentioned before, Facebook has their meta.ai as well.
So 4 AI models, all completely free, that you can use right now. And I've actually heard of people who, you know how we talked about the AI hallucinations and making up stuff? Well, actually, if you had all 4 free models, you could actually ask all 4 the same thing and then cross-reference and see what gave you an hallucination that wasn't real. If the other 3 said something different, then you know that this other 4th one is making stuff up. But you can also get the best result, choose whichever result you find is the best or the best option for you for whatever it is that you want it to do. So having 4 tabs, 4 different models, asking them all the same thing could be a great strategy to get some really amazing content out of them.
Yeah. Could be very interesting to see if there are much different perspectives.
Yeah, I feel like absolutely, because they've trained them all differently. I think that you would be probably surprised of the result that you got and how different it is between all 4.
Yep. Well, there we go. Go and test them out and pick your favorite.
Yeah.
So back to our data and reporting AI takeover series. Now, personally, data and reporting, not my favorite type of tasks. So this might be the same for you listening. It is usually one of those tasks in business, though, that has to be done regardless. And sometimes it can be quite time consuming. So hopefully we can give you some suggestions of some tasks that AI can help you with in this episode.
And speed this process up and give you some really good reporting results, analytics that you can make really great decisions with in your business.
Yeah. AI can process massive amounts of information very quickly and very accurately a lot of the time. We have talked about AI hallucinations again, but double check. And yeah, I mean, we're taking away human error and we are adding in AI hallucinations occasionally, but yeah, it can process huge amounts of information that humans just can't that quickly.
Yeah, exactly.
So if we start off with spreadsheet formulas, now this is something that you should be able to do across all 4 of those chat interfaces with the Copilot, Gemini, Meta.ai, ChatGPT chat tools. There is so much to learn in Excel, and there is so many formulas in both Google Sheets and Microsoft Excel that help you speed up processes rather than you doing them manually. So if you need to do anything in these tools, then ask one of those AI chat tools and see if you can do it in a formula and automate that for yourself.
Yeah, because there are so many times where I know that someone has manually dragged data around or
Same.
manually done something in Excel that can be done with a formula. A prime example is when someone has a database and they have their first and last name together in the same field and they need to separate it out for like creating a letter mail merge or something. Do people still write letters? So separating it out into first name and last name in two separate fields, that can completely be done by a formula. But I know, and you've probably done this yourself,
Yeah,
that
probably.
there are a lot of people who are manually separating those out into separate fields. So that's just one example of actually, if you could ask chat, hey, can you give me the formula? This is what I want to do, and kind of describe it best you can. It will give you the exact formula and the step by step process of how to do that.
Yeah. So don't be like me. I don't have any excuses anymore. But yes, I am that person that would do it manually in Excel, and now I don't have to. So if there's something that you're trying to do, just give it a go. Ask how. I've got a couple of examples here of prompts that you can use in the chat tools. So even like, how do I use the sum function to add up all values in column A in Google Sheets? So you can specify which program you're using, and then it's going to spit you out that formula. And then you can do more advanced prompts as well. And full disclaimer, I have literally no idea what I'm about to say. I don't know what it means. But an example of one of the more advanced prompts could be, how can I nest multiple if statements to assign grades based on scores in column C in Excel? So if that's something that registers with you, something you maybe need to know how to do, then give it a go. Ask ChatGPT or one of the other tools for some formulas.
Mm. Yeah, and it could be something like, create a formula that calculates quarterly growth rates based on historical data. So you you can get as technical or advanced as you need to be in these interactions with AI in terms of what is the formula that I need to do to be able to get this thing. And you don't even need to know the exact terminology that you need to ask it. Like you could just describe, hey, I want to figure out how to get some predictions of what sales are going to be coming through in June based on the last 10 years of data. And you upload that data in and it provides you with the information. Or you could ask for the formula. Hey, I've got this spreadsheet. Can you tell me what the formula is that I put in, column F
Yeah.
to get this?
Yeah.
So,
You may as well at least try asking. If there's not a formula, it's going to let you know.
yes. Yeah.
But give
Yeah.
it a go. But anyway, that takes us on to our second point, the data interpretation and analysis, because this is something that AI is really good at. And yeah, it can even predict future trends like you were talking about, Jo. So whether that's
Mhm.
revenue and sales or even just information about your customers, you can upload it a document now if you're on the paid versions, or you can just copy and paste that data in. And if you want to collate and cluster data, you can do that. And yeah, if you'd like it to do some analysis, let it know what you want some information about.
Mhm.
Boom. AI does the heavy lifting.
Yes, I think that's the important term here is that get AI to do the heavy lifting for you. You still need to do the thinking about what you actually want. It does the heavy lifting. And then you do the review, the checks, making sure that it's actually correct what it's given you. And like then you're looking at the analysis to make some decisions in your
Mm.
business. So the heavy lifting no longer needs to be done by you or your team. This is a huge opportunity to use AI to do that for you.
Yeah. So even say if you upload a document that has your data about your business in it, and you've asked AI to spot some unusual spikes, say in website traffic or something like that, you do still want to go back and double check sort of where it's referencing or what the spike is, just to make sure that that's actually accurate from the data that you've
Mm.
uploaded. Like Jo says, so you prompt you spend time prompting, you spend the time checking. AI does that 80% of the work for you.
Yeah. So you can also have AI summarize data and key points for you as well. So taking, a whole lot of reports and giving you some summaries, figuring out what the key points are, key themes, key issues you need to look at.
Mm.
So what we want you to have a think about is how can you get AI to do that analysis, freeing your team up so that they can actually do a deeper dive, think strategically about the information that the AI is giving them, and help make decisions in your business. So we want AI doing the analysis, your team then thinking strategically about what to do with that analysis.
Mm-hmm. Another one is graph and table creation. Now, most AI tools can do this, or even create you a report template that then each time, it can create the template and then update that template for you, or update the wording for it. But mostly the graphs and tables is going to be a paid feature. So on the paid version of ChatGPT, we've talked about those custom GPTs before that are essentially like apps in an app store. So if you just type in graph to search in that area, there are a bunch of custom GPTs that come up. And one of them that I have tested is called Dr. Graph. It was my favorite. I tried about 3 different ones. And that was my favorite one because you can either upload it, a document, or just copy and paste your data into the chat. And then you can ask it to create a graph from that, or multiple graphs if you're copying in multiple different types of information, or it's complex data and you could get a few graphs out of the same chunk of information, then ask it to create however many you want. It takes, or it was taking for me less than a minute, but I was doing fairly simple ones. So it may take, a little longer, up to a minute or two. But even then, that's probably still quicker than I could create a graph personally. And then once it generates your graph, you can update the color of the graph, and it actually gives you a few preset options. But then you can even upload your own color code so it can be specific to your brand. If you're not happy with the type of graph that it produced, then you can just ask it for another type. Like if you just want a bar graph instead of another graph that it generated, or if you prefer it in a table, then just ask it to redo it. And again, just make sure to review it to make sure that the data that has come out on the graph is accurate. I didn't have any issues with that when I was doing some testing, but it always pays to double check.
Cool. And then you can just download that graph as a PNG, right? Just an image file, and put it into any report that you want.
Yeah, so for Dr. Graph specifically, it downloaded the graphs as a image PNG file, and if you asked it for a table, then it would download as a editable CSV file.
Cool. Those GPTs are so handy. Having done all of that kind of specialized training on that GPT so that you can use it and it understands what you're actually wanting and gives you really good outputs. They're amazing.
Yeah, and you can go in and see the ones that are the highest ranked and trending ones. And obviously, a bunch of people are using them. It tells you how many people are using them. So you can easily find ones that are better than other ones as well.
Yeah. And if you want to take this to the next level, then having a look at some AI powered KPI dashboards. I have been doing some research into this because this is something that we're wanting to do for our own business, Strictly Savvy, where we have a monthly reporting template that a team member manually pulls together at the moment. So we are going to be integrating a KPI dashboard with AI that's going to be all automatic, which is going to be awesome. So as we start to figure out which tools are best for that and how we've done that, we will definitely be coming back on the podcast to let you know about that too, but that is coming soon.
I'm very excited for that. Now, the other thing that you can do, well, I say the other thing, there are so many things you can do in this. This is really just a few of many. But something else that you can do is actually use those paid versions of Gemini, Copilot, and even tools like Zapier that actually integrate with your platforms to perform actions with data, whether that's across your Google Docs and Google Sheets or whatever it is. There are unlimited options on this front. So if you are looking at using one of those tools, then I mean, it's likely you're going to use the one that's integrated with the email software that you're already using. If not, looking into something like Zapier, jump in and have a look at those integrations that it has and those actions it can perform, because it can do so many different ones. Like there are hundreds, thousands probably of different actions that it can take across these different apps and tools.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So things like generating a weekly or monthly report based on some data that you have in maybe a Google Sheet or an Excel file, and then emailed to a specific team member that needs to look at that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. This whole section itself could be a full podcast episode, so we won't do a massive deep dive into this, but yeah, go and have a look into these if you're interested in actually upgrading to one of the paid tools, because it may very well be worthwhile looking into one of these options that integrates with your email and can perform a bunch of actions for you. But do your research, as always. Make sure the investment is worth it before you go and decide to upgrade to a paid tool, because there are so many out there now and it's very easy to get carried away. And yeah, the costs can build up quickly. But at the same time, with the right tools, you can offset that cost very easily.
Absolutely. With the savings that you can make with team members' time and energy, etc. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you want help finding and implementing the right tools for your business, then head over to strictlysavvy.co.nz and don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to the Get Savvy podcast.